Well, hello and welcome. I'm Sue Britz,
And I'm Tina Lokkbakk. Welcome to Retired.
the podcast where we talk about what life is like when we put on new tread, new wheels that move us to our next adventure.
So, Sue,
Yes,
this has been an adventurous year for both of us. Do
I
you
will
want to
say.
tell
Uh-huh.
what episode we are now on?
Yeah. We are in episode 50.
50!
Yes, we are. We've done this
So
50
exciting.
times. 50 times. You know, that includes the 2 weeks off that we really didn't have, but we did. Yeah, so it's a 2-week vacation, 50 episodes, that's a year.
And doesn't it feel kind of amazing that you took this dream and really created it for me too, because I had this dream and made it a reality. I mean, I thank you for this because this is something I had wanted to do. And I still to this day remember I was coming back from Cuba and I was in a parking lot over in like Moreno Valley getting fast food before driving home. And we talked on the phone and you're like, hey, Tina, you want to do this? Like, you want to start? And you had mentioned it once before and it was just perfect. So that was a great day. And the fact that I even remember where I was, what I was eating. Yeah, thanks, Sue.
Well, thank you because, I remember when we started doing this, first of all, just even getting in touch with you. You are a private and a busy person. So just to get back in touch, and we've been talking on a regular basis,
It's
weekly.
nice.
It's amazing. And because it's programmed or whatever, it's not an imposition, it's just part of the routine. Had I started this, had I started this without you, it doesn't have the same dynamic by any mean, and it doesn't have the same feel, the content, the perspective, the point of view. I think it's so strong because we share this commonality of having taught together, and really feeling the joy of that, the pressures of it, and everything, and then retiring from that retiring from that profession, and redefining who we are, redefining our direction, and where we want to go. So I couldn't have done it without you, and I really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you.
I've learned a lot about you too and myself during this year. It's been pretty cool.
And I like the whole bringing it back to finding that sparkle. That's what I enjoyed with you when I taught, is that you bring out my inner sparkle, and I hope I bring out your inner sparkle too. Um, and I think that's what makes it so special for me.
I Yeah, I sparkle better with you too. Um, no, I think that one of the things that I've learned through this process is that by having a plan, a commitment to someone else, you really show up. So, I mean, there may be weeks where like, oh, I don't want to get up, or I'm too busy, I can't do this today. But to carve out that time and commit to it,
Like
really,
sacred time.
yeah, it makes it happen. And it's been so good for us in producing this podcast, but it's also been so good for me in reconnecting and having this friendship develop even more, and bring in our other friends, certainly Sharon, bringing her back into the loop.
And our
And
authors have been
yes,
amazing. Like,
yes, and they all come from the same ground, literal ground. They all had different processes along the way and started in different times and so forth, but that commonality of not only being teachers, being educators, but to have been in the same place. It's pretty amazing. Okay, so I have two. You were saying, what are we going to do for our 50th episode? And I'm like, well, we have to talk about 50. First of all, we can relate it back to when we turned 50.
oh, so funny. That's where my mind jumped right now.
So let's go there, because you are over 50, right? My,
The big 5'6".
my little sister, I always teased you about being so much younger. Yeah, I passed the big 60, so that's fine too. But do you remember that time, not so long ago, when we were turning 50, and what that felt like?
You know, I do remember I felt more confident and happy to be 50. Probably that was my favorite age. Uh, so I saw it, despite what was going on in my life at that time, it still felt the best ever. And you?
I agree. I have to say, I mean, there's something special about that, the big 50, and it's a half a century and certainly you're more than middle-aged because, most of us don't live to 100.
No, but I
Um,
am.
yeah,
I made
we
that commitment with myself quite a long time ago.
Okay, very good, good, good. So that is truly just your middle age. So we're in middle
Yes.
age, and beyond. And the 50s, when you were younger, they seem so old. You're like, oh my gosh, you are a senior citizen. I mean, that's one of the things at 55.
Actually, we're not.
Well, at
Like, I'm
55,
surprised. Yeah.
well, when you enter that decade, and then you're going to hit 55, that's considered a senior citizen by some places, and others
Some places.
wait till your social security age, or others wait till retirement age, and then the retirement age has been artificially extended beyond the
Yep.
65. So, but the 50 is that landmark that says you're now a senior, and you're not a kid, you're not a young adult, you're not just an adult, you are now this wise adult, this senior who is,
Hopefully.
yes, and then hopefully also that your physicality is still you're vibrant and able to do all the things, and you're still together. I think it's the best decade, really. I loved my 50s. It was fabulous. Of course, it did coincide with divorcing and starting my life over again, and making myself a priority. So all those things come together. Then there's, of course, menopause that overlaps into it.
Speaking of which,
Of
I call it,
witches?
I'm flashing.
Oh no.
I have been flashing. It's like I go through these bouts where I am flashing multiple times within a day, and then it'll disappear for weeks. And it's like, oh, we're done with this now. We're done flashing. And now I've been like in this phase again of flashing. So, yeah, menopause has been interesting. Yes.
Well, and it starts for different people at different times. I mean, we heard Amy's story where it just was artificially
Hmm.
started like that, and she smacked into a brick wall. But for me, like the perimenopause started, but it was interesting. As soon as like I missed a period, that was it. It wasn't like off and on, off and on, off and on. It was just like
Oh, yours
hello.
was a light switch too.
It was like, hello, here you go. And I'm like, oh, thank you so very much. I've been waiting for you. I love it. I love not having my friggin' period.
Yeah, no, I'm still thrown by surprise. Like, I don't even think about it and then it happens. But
Oh, God.
yeah, it's been an experience. But you know what? Did you ever deal with the hot flash and did you take hormones at all?
I absolutely deal with hot flashes, and still they go on. I mean, they're going to, I think, go on for a good while as soon as you've got bursts of hormones in your body,
Mm.
different times. And it's not as intense as before, but you go, oh, that feels familiar. But I would so much rather have that than that monthly period that was just horrible. Is this turning into a menopause story? No, but
Menopause at 50 will be the title.
that's
No.
the other thing is we should talk about this more in depth. But just to answer your question about the hormones, I do take the estrol, and that is so important. I mean, people don't talk about menopause much, and a lot of men don't even want to hear anything about it. But women need to hear about it ahead of time so you can understand that what the symptoms of things that you feel along the way, which are different for every woman at different times, but they are normal and natural things that you're going to feel. And if you understand that, then you're not afraid. You're not afraid about what's happening to you. And then you have some advice about places and things, places to go and things to try and see what works best for you. So, yeah.
And I want to back up before we even get to menopause. And I don't know if it was my family culture, my mother, but I do believe that there was so much not talked about,
Mm-hmm.
like the afterbirth effects
Mm-hmm.
on your body
Yep.
and what to expect. Like my mom never shared, nor did I think to ask her, like, how was your body affected? How was it reshaped? Literally, internally, externally, all of it. And it's kind of like the same thing with the menopause. Like, no one really talked about it then, other than maybe the hot flash. But I think that that's a disservice. And I've been quite open about what's going on with my girls because I think I don't want them to be blown away and surprised by these things either. And I think part of why we don't say anything is because maybe if what happened to my body after giving birth, perhaps it's just too scary and we don't want to scare people of
It
what
won't be
can
so
happen.
scary if you don't if you know that it's normal and you can prepare for it and you can have backup systems for it. It's not as scary then. So we do ourselves a misservice. I
Yeah.
think this is one of our topics. I just wrote it down from our first period to menopause and all the changes that happen to women in between because that is retirement. It redefines who you are along each path of the way and figuring out how to manage things and you know, it's on our list.
Yeah, that sounds good.
So, Tina, I have other questions about our 50th episode, the Big 5-0, where, one is, what have we learned about podcasting? And the other one is, what have we learned from podcasting? I just love the power of words. So, about podcasting would be the technical things, about how to make things work. And would you mind if we start with that?
Absolutely not.
So, I remember wanting to get going on this. The thing that I was like, how do I get going? There's so much information when you go on your Google search, there are all these engines that want to help you out with developing your platform. And of course, they all come with money, demands for money. And, one of the things I love about podcasting is that really it doesn't take a whole lot. It's that privilege of the airways that I learned about when I started studying radio and television production. And it's like the sacredness of the airwaves. It's a right of citizenry to have that. And so I love that. And I didn't want to just like go down a rabbit hole of choosing one of those based on. I started listening to all the what they offered and then reviews and stuff, and it just was crazy. So, guess where I went for my expertise?
Back to your college notes.
No, those are long gone. And of course, back in those days, there wasn't no such thing
Oh,
as
that's true.
podcasting. No, based on what I learned and how I learned viticulture and enology, I did go to UC Davis and I love that. But when I started doing my home winemaking, I got home winemaking for dummies. And I love that resource. That author was fabulous. So, in applying that same philosophy, after doing research online, I chose the podcasting for dummies. And I will say I didn't love it in the same respect that I loved my the winemaking for dummies, but it was very very helpful in understanding the concepts in a simple way, and then looking for taking some of their advice, using making some of my own decisions about things, but then launching from there, and yeah, so I would say the first two or chapters or so was what I used. I didn't use all the rest about marketing and other things. And maybe I should go back and look at that. But I think we've been doing pretty well. We got this thing up and going, and I took some of the recommendations on hardware, and so I like that too.
So, first, what I find and found interesting before you reached out to me was I had actually taken a course with a podcaster. Her name is Haley Radke. I'll put a little plug in there for her. And she has her own show called Adoptees On. It was excellent. And what I learned from that experience was how much I dislike the computer, how much I dislike technology, how much I'm so completely not interested, which is why I practically cried with joy because that was the thing that prevented me from ever wanting to do this. And when you asked and said, oh, and by the way, I'll do the technical parts because I have this experience and I enjoy it. I'm like, oh my God, it couldn't be more perfect. So And I want everybody to know that Sue and I have an agreement that we always like run it by, make sure that we hear it and agree before we put it, into the public domain. And I think almost always without fail, and it comes from the heart. So I guess it'll be close to 50 times after today, or it will be 50, that I always say like, thank you, good job. Like, because what you do is really excellent. And because I'm a podcast junkie, I just feel good job, Sue, because the quality is really quite amazing.
Well,
So
thank you. And,
anyway,
I think that, there is something that I've learned through my passion for video production, photography, and all that. And then I think back even to when I was a kid and I was like directing my own little shows and stuff, and then theater, and then teaching is the same thing. You've got this knowledge that you've acquired, and you have to figure out a way to deliver it and share it and make decisions on the spot and guide it through where you want it to go. So all those are like producing, directing, editing questions, all going on at the same time that you're actually quote the talent on the podcast. So that's been fun for me to do, and I like keep exploring what works and what doesn't work. There's even You can even just podcast right off your phone. I mean, it's astounding what we can do, and just a matter of sharing that information and using it ourselves. So, yay. Okay, so that leaves us our last question, which is, what have we learned from podcasting? What have we
oh,
learned from this experience of having done it together and independently? What comes to mind for you with that? What have you learned from this process?
I've learned how much I enjoy guest speakers as well. And the information that they share with us. I think that's why I like the whole podcast idea and meeting with you every week, is because we do love learning and growing and sharing, and we're curious. And when we bring these people in, um, I don't know, I find it really fun. Uh, and I've also learned from this experience, well, one, I really do enjoy it. And today you said, you came prepared. I did not. Um, I've learned through teaching and even through this that sometimes I do my best when I am just in the moment. It's the most organic and the most authentic. And sometimes it's very hard for me to come prepared. It's almost more fun to not know what the topic is. Or, like today, I'm like, uh, because I had Christmas written down. So, but I also like that because I like how I think that's what I liked with teaching, to tie it back in there. So I've learned for myself how much I do feel comfortable doing, what is it? Improv.
Yeah,
Improv.
yeah, I agree because it you come with the experience of a lifetime, with a message that you're refining and learning and yourself. So you carry that message, your philosophy, your path where you're going right now. You carry that with you, and it's you're mindfully there. So when you're coming without prep, just a general preparation, then you draw on that. It's more organic, it's very real, it's very natural. And that's what I like about our conversations, is that they're not planned out, and we don't have a script that we read from. It's that has been really cool. I like that. And I agree with our visitors to have a guest that uh, again relates back to our common idea or thread for this podcast. Um, and I'm looking forward to you maybe bringing. I challenge you then to bring someone that maybe you met through your teaching experience that I didn't directly work with or know, because you've jumped right into the void of not knowing some of these people, and you've like embraced that moment. It's been really good, and you've brought out more from that conversation. I love that.
Thanks. I do have a person up my sleeve, and I'll mention at a later time. And she too is figuring out this whole navigating of retirement. She's
Mm-hmm.
about to retire at the end of this year, but she's not retiring. She's now doing all these side hustles. And one of another friend where we've connected on this side of things, and two of you, where it's been really lovely. And her connection right now is that we share all these business books that we're learning about and business podcasts, and how we're supporting each other, um, holding each other through these next steps
Well, great. I'm
of
looking
the
forward to that. This is the excitement of a 50 is that, this next year is on the brink and we can, really launch out with some new ideas and new approaches. I think that's great. That one of the things that I realized also was that, you know, I I am I would consider myself now kind of an even introvert extrovert person. As a teacher, you're more extroverted, and certainly we're on behind mics and we're talking to the world right now, right? But I think so much more about who I am is an introverted person. And when you're a teacher, when you're a parent, you kind of have to put that on hold. It kind of
Yep.
resides in the background. And I've really appreciated having you be that extra person that directs and carries and moves a conversation because here I am, I'm listening to myself, I'm listening to you, and I'm looking at the clock, and I'm looking at the audio levels and all these things, and thinking about where would be a good place to transition, and how to do it. So I'm doing my little
You're
director
doing the teacher
editor
thing
thing.
where,
Well,
yeah,
it
yeah,
is a
yeah.
teacher. It's the director editor thing going on that is just like teaching
While you're
in many
holding on
ways.
the
Yeah.
conversation and nobody knows that you've already got 20,000 thoughts up there.
Right. And then you rely on that student who asks the right question or says the right thing, and you build off that. And so you are absolutely helping in doing that. You drive the conversation as much as I do. And I really
Thank you.
appreciate that. So I'm learning that too. It's kind of neat. So just like lean on that and know that it'll be okay. Anything else that comes to mind? I'm thinking my listening skills have improved. I know that one of my faults is to jump in and talk over people because I am very, I can't hold an idea. In a way, I get an idea. I'm a brainstormer. And so I get an idea and I want to share it before I lose it because I know that it might spark something in you and you'll have great things to say. It's not about me wanting to own the talking zone. It's more about here's an idea. What do you think? And then bounce it off you. But that causes a problem of jumping in. However, I also know that jumping in is an important skill because you often get talked over otherwise. And out in the world, if you don't jump in, you're not going to be heard. Your voice is not there. So I struggle with that duality of jumping in or not. But I'm learning to be a better listener, and then yeah, decide more, be more discerning about when to jump in.
Wow. The listening aspect is actually one of my top goals. And I'm learning through these business books in leadership, you really have to listen. And not only should you listen, it's often very important when you come to discuss and come to a business agreement to you have to listen so well that you can incorporate and and say back, is this what you meant? So I didn't realize it till you said it, that I'm sure that I am actually getting better at this, because I too would always be like, I got to say this before I forget. It was the same thing. And then you really do miss out on what that person has to say when you're already pre-thinking the next thing in the conversation. And I don't know if that's wisdom, age, a focus that I've been working on, so I am improving on it. I don't know why, or it's this podcast, but it has gotten better now that you've mentioned it in the last year. So thanks. I think that is a skill that I take from from the podcast. That's your question. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think listening is a big skill.
Well, and it's practicing that skill then too. If you're doing it mindfully, you're practicing so many things right now. So yeah, I commend you on that. But I remember a comment that Sharon had. I think it was back on her first uh, appearance on our show back in the spring. She said, "I really like how you two listen to each other and respond and build off each other." And when I heard that, I thought, "Oh, so that was the first kind of dawning on it." And I think we've kind of improved. Now, of course, to be fully honest, when we edit, sometimes we do talk over each other. Very rarely, though. Surprisingly, not a lot. But then I can edit out or dampen a mic and go through there. So the editing
And hold
process
on, I
does.
have to change one little part. It's not when we edit. This is when Sue edits.
Okay. But that is a help too. But then even as I'm doing that, I'm going, wow, okay, so we only had to do this 3 times in this episode, or we didn't really have to do that in this episode. It's kind of interesting to observe that as we go through. So yeah, yeah, and like I say, I also have learned that I love and miss my close friendships with people. And when they move away or they get busy with their life, it's not this thing of, oh, there's a friend for a season or a reason, all that. Those are nice little ideas. But to be able to jump back into a friendship and build it more, um, that's really cool. And I hope to do that with more of my friends, past and present, future. So there we go.
And
Thank
I
you.
and I do have to say there is something to the fact that there's chemistry in friendships,
Mm-hmm.
and we just had it because it didn't matter, and some people have always mentioned this, but you're one of them for me, and it's like it doesn't matter the time. We just jump back in and take off wherever we left off.
Yeah.
And really, in a way, that's what we do in conversations in general. We could just stop, shift gears, jump, and then we'll both jump into that area. And if we shift gears and jump over to, ooh, and we shift to
That's
the
what
other
I
lane.
was catching at the shift. Go to the other lane, and
Like you and I are able to shift lanes together,
I
which
love
is kind
that.
of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, we go to the fast, and then you're like, hey, Tina, let's go to slow. Okay. And then we'll get off on the slow. Hey, let's get off on this off ramp. Okay. Okay. Let's do this too.
See, our
Yeah.
metaphor is really strong.
And even before we started today, uh, listeners, we're gonna do just a little change at the ending, and we one of the things that you and I just love is playing with words. Like we've always played with words, so expect hopefully a little bit more of that for the new year, for the next 50.
There we go. All right, to the next 50. Salud. Cheers.
Salud, cheers, kampai,
Kompai.
prost, skull.
Budma.
Ooh, Ukrainian.
Yes. L'chaim.
Ooh, what's that?
To life. All right, are you ready to
Wrap it up.
wrap it up?
Ooh, wrap it up as we go into the holiday season.
That wraps up this episode of Retired. Thanks for listening.
Until next week, please feel free to lend your feedback or ask questions by emailing us at retiredpodcastnewtread@gmail.com. You're invited to follow us on Facebook at Retired Podcast New Tread. Check the show notes for links and contact information.
Retired is co-hosted by Sue Britz and Tina Lokkbakk. It is produced, directed, and edited by me, Sue Britz. Music and graphics are by me, too. Please click to subscribe so that you won't miss your chance to join our retired road trip.